Salutations, a corner snatched to a station. The blast cause hazardous gas and mass radiation. The public panic due to lack of information that made a killer situation.
What up, y'all?
In the civilization, still you sit in the basement, takes a scientific nation to fail. Blind communities, they read it in braille. Politicians with the skin and scales, pigtails, sending soldiers and shipping sailors, sunken city, divers and trails. Down below, search for survivors, there's no people for several miles.
I have no idea who that is, but I can tell you, he is spitting. He is spitting. Welcome back to the second segment of the Hashtag Brothers of Baseball show right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. It's your boy, Willie Epting Jr. Checking in, man. Hold it down, rolling solo. No, you know what? I haven't had the family on the show in a minute. We got to do something about that. I am calling them out right now. I'm calling out Melissa. I'm calling out Liz. I'm calling out Rachel. I'm calling out Christina. I'm calling out Sapphire. I'm calling out whoever else has been on the show, Mike Martinez, JC Blue Note. I'm calling y'all out because we have not had a family gathering on the Hashtag Brothers of Baseball show in far too long. What are we going to do about it? What are y'all going to do about it? Let's get it together, man. We got playoffs coming up. That is a perfect time for us to start digging into who we think is going to win the World Series and why. All right. Thank you guys out there for checking us out on Facebook, through my personal page, through the network's page, through the BGC Sport. Oh, I already said that. The ShakeBack Media Group's page, as well as LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram TV. I see you guys out there checking your boy out. And of course, Twitter. Yes, sir. Appreciate that, man. Before we move any further, though, and we got to tell you what we talked about in the first segment. Of course, the future is bright when you talk about Cheerios or the Jackson 3 with Cheerios, Holiday, and Merrill. You talk about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bobby Witt Jr. You talk about Gunnar Henderson and Corbin Calhoun. And, of course, I didn't even mention the All-Star Game MVP, Boston Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran, who's actually my new favorite player. How dare I not mention him? So, yeah, we talked about how that is so bright. And then, of course, the stakes are high, as the greatest pastor this side of heaven would say. Pastor N.Q. McGill, of course, would say the stakes are high, and the stakes are high in Major League Baseball in terms of what is left to play for, because there is a lot. We're going to get into Did You See That here in just a minute. I've got the power rankings coming up as well. And then, of course, we're going to talk about a little bit about what happens if the postseason were to start today. You all know that phrase across the landscape of every sport, but we're going to talk about that as well. Before we go any further, though, this second segment, it is being brought to you by Front End Sports. Founded in 2022, Front End Sports is dedicated to empowering athletes, teams, and organizations with cutting-edge social media, merchandising, and NIL strategies to help your brand through innovative and personalized solutions. Our team consists of experienced professionals with diverse backgrounds in sports, marketing, design, and technology, all who share a passion for helping their clients succeed and unlock their full potential. Make sure you go to frontendsports.com. Again, frontendsports.com. Tell them that your boy Willie Epting Jr. told you to holler so y'all can set it off on your marketing needs. Okay, before we get to the postseason picture, I've got a Did You See That? And really it's a Did You See That? A big dummy and what do you say? All wrapped into one. So we're gonna start with this one.
Oh my God! Did you see that?
And then we're gonna go to, of course, this one.
Oh no, you big dummy! You dummy! You big dummy! 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 Get lost, dummy!
And then we're gonna go to the final one, and it basically says this.
What'd he say? I can't believe you got me in the mix with this fool.
Did you guys hear about what has happened to Sean P. Diddy Combs? Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested on multiple charges of all kind of stuff, to include sex trafficking, across interstate lines. He was picked up by the feds late in the night on Tuesday night, or Monday night rather. And let's just say that the past is finally caught up with the Puffy one. We have all speculated about the things that Puffy has been accused of. We have all heard the different reports and seen some of the different interviews by thus people that have been surrounded by him yet in the past, such as Jaguar Wright and others. We have all put our spins on what we think Sean P. Diddy Combs has been guilty of or has participated in. Let's just say this, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. However, I do believe in certain things because of the way certain things have been shown to me, the way things are put in front of my eyes. I believe what my eyes are telling me. I am listening to my eyes, okay? Where there is smoke, there is fire. And where there is fire, there is more fire. And the more you try to cover up fire with more oxygen, guess what? The fans are going to be flamed even that much more. Sean P. Diddy Combs is a billionaire, or shall I say, was a billionaire. Internationally known for being all up in the videos, as Suge Knight once so eloquently said at the Source Awards back in 1996, I think it was, when the East Coast, West Coast hip-hop beef was really just kicking off. There is no doubt in my mind. I don't have any evidence, but there is no doubt in my mind that Sean P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs was involved in the deaths of Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace I, also known as the Notorious B.I.G. I have no doubt in my mind that he had something to do with each of those each of those murders. No doubt. And it changed the face of hip hop forever when Biggie and Tupac were senselessly murdered, one in LA, the other in Vegas. All because of what? Well, there's a lot of things that we've heard. There's a lot of things that we really just don't know. But I will tell you this. The evidence that was shown in the video of that poor girl, Cassie. And Cassie, I remember a song that Cassie had. And it was back in 2005, I want to say. And it was a nice song. She was pretty much a one-hit wonder. But it was a nice dance. It was a nice dance tune. And the lyrics, and I encourage you guys to go and Google it. But I think the lyrics that she sung about in that particular tune may have been about everything that was surrounding Bad Boy Entertainment at that time. And if you look at the things that had surrounded Bad Boy and Puffy throughout the times of hip hop and entertainment, you talk about Shine and what happened to Shine. You remember Shine? Bad Boys. I forgot the name of the song just that quick. Anyway, you talk about what happened with Craig Mack. Craig Mack was one of the dopest MCs of the early to mid 90s. And for whatever reason, he wasn't promoted like the rest of them were. And he ultimately passed away really at an early age. We know what happened with Biggie. You talk about what happened with Faith Evans, Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, 112. You talk about the Locks. You talk about all these cats, right? And why is it, Lil' Kim, why is it, ladies and gentlemen, that for the longest time, Sean Combs was the only one standing? Why is that? Has that ever made you wonder why he was the only one standing? So I say again, I can't prove it. I don't know nothing, but I do have a little bit of common sense. And again, where there's smoke, there's fire. And you don't just get accused of these things or indicted of these things, or better yet, even before we even get to the indictment. How about the fact that his homes in Miami and in Los Angeles were simultaneously raided at the exact same time by the feds? They don't do that unless they have something on you. And I don't understand. And the big dummy part of this for me comes in why the dude is still obviously has a whole bunch of money. Why would you just not leave and go to a country that does not allow for U.S. extradition? I don't get that. Why didn't you do that? And maybe I don't know, maybe he don't have the money. I just can't believe that would be the case. Or maybe he was so arrogant to believe that even with where we are in terms of what has happened to him, he was still so arrogant to believe that it couldn't happen to him. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But what I will tell you is this, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you are indicted, that's and you're on a federal level, and then on top of that, breaking news, dude, on Tuesday afternoon came out that his bail was denied in New York City, in his home city. And speaking of that, it wasn't that long ago, y'all, when Sean Combs got the key to the city. Remember that? He got the key to the freaking city. And now the city where he was indicted and is now being held, the judge has denied bail. What that means is that they think he is a flight risk. They know that he has resources. He has committed crimes across state lines, interstate crimes, whether it's drug trafficking or whether it's possession, whether it's moving bodies back and forth for his freak offs is what he called them. Yeah, dude, the book has been thrown at you, and rightly so. If you are guilty of any or all of these issues, you deserve to be put underneath the jail. And there's no amount of money that's going to be able to get you out. Now, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen in the aftermath. I'm waiting to see who's going to be next, because we know that him and Jay-Z are tighter than two gloves or two hands, or you know what I mean? Tighter than the hands of a glove. We know that they're that tight. Jay-Z, you haven't heard nothing from Jay-Z in a minute. You haven't even heard much from Beyonce since she dropped her country music album that a lot of people are disgusted by, and I'm not going to go there because you need to mind your own business, because yet again, that was something else that was stolen. Okay, so what's going to happen to P. Diddy now? He's going to have to pay for all of those sins. And you know what's so ironic about all this is that the very soul that they sell of themselves, the very SOU that they have that they sell to get to where they are in terms of their careers, notoriety, power, influence, money, wealth, benefits, all that. The very soul that they sold, the God that created them is still waiting for them to turn to him and repent, and he will forgive them for their sins. That's what's so ironic about it. Now, some people, you know, I don't know. I mean, if you're a believer like I am, this could be all orchestrated by the man upstairs to get Sean P. Diddy Combs to turn himself around and come back to the kingdom. Because if you think about it, there's been a lot of people throughout history that have been rich, and then lost everything. Is this going to happen to him? I don't know. So, I don't even have the words or the energy, rather, to say thoughts and prayers for Puff Daddy, because Puff Daddy made his bed and now he's got to lie in it. My prayer is that his soul is reunited with the Savior. That's what we all should be hoping and praying for if you are a believer. And I don't know if he is or not. I can't help but to think that he was at one time, because I know just based on the movie from Notorious that Christopher Wallace's mom was a believer. They were there at one time. So who knows? All right. Big day. I was a little long-winded on that, but you know, it is what it is, and it has to be discussed. And you know, I don't pull no punches here on the hashtag Brothers of Baseball show or any other show that I'm on that I'm not a guest on, but that's just what it is. All right. That was the Did You See That? The You Big Dummy and What He Say all wrapped into one. Here we go. Let's talk about this. I don't know if I'm going to get to the power rankings in the second segment, but if we do, we do. If we don't, cool. It's going to be in the third segment along with the hashtag Look Ahead. This is what I want to put on screen because we are at the point of hunt for October. And shout out to my homeboy Let me go and see if I can get his Twitter handle, because he is the one that prompted me to do this, and I'm looking for it right now as we speak. And what I'm going to talk about here is the what if the season were to end today? That thing that we talk about across all landscapes of sports. On Twitter, he is at the Jock 26, Anthony Jock. He is a crazy Mets fan, and I hope he's watching, because I told him I was going to talk about this. So here we go. Right now, as it stands, this is where we are in terms of the postseason picture. In the American League, you see that as of tape time, it will be the Twins versus the Astros in the 6-3 matchup, and then the 5-4 matchup, a very compelling matchup between Kansas City and Baltimore. Waiting in the wings will be the two top seeds in New York and the Guardians. Slamming over to the West, you have in the 6-3 matchup, you have the New York Mets and the Milwaukee Brewers. Another compelling matchup. I saw a series between these two teams earlier in the year, and that's when I first learned of Jackson Churios for the Milwaukee Brewers. And then the other wild card, you've got the continued bloodbathing of the National League West and the 5-4 matchup between the Diamondbacks and the Padres. And perched at the top of the National League are the Philadelphia Phillies with the number 1 seed, and then the number 2 seed, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, this is, of course, if the season were to end right as we are having this discussion. As we know, it will be the Orioles or the Kansas City Royals moving on to face the New York Yankees, or the Astros or the Twins moving on to face the Guardians. Switching over to the National League, either the Mets or the Brewers moving on and advancing to play the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks or the Padres advancing to face the Phillies. Who's noticeably absent from this chart? There's no Atlanta Braves. There's no Seattle Mariners. There's no Minnesota Twins. All teams that have been in first place at some point in the year, and definitely in the wild card hunt throughout the entire season, all the way up into these last couple of weeks of the season. These matchups in the first round, and of course, all of these games are played in the higher seeds park, with no going to the lower seeds park. So basically, all 3 games, if necessary, would be played in Houston, Baltimore, San Diego, or Milwaukee, with all those teams said advancing to face those teams that are the top of both leagues. So that is going to be the most electrifying playoff bracket in recent memory, if you ask me, because of the matchups and how really closely matched most of these teams would be against one another in that particular setup that we just showed. So I'm excited. I am completely excited. All right, that's going to do it for the second segment. Come on back on the other side of the break. We got to get to the power rankings. We got to do the hashtag look ahead, the last 2 for the year. Big day, Willie Epting Jr., hashtag Brothers of Baseball Show. Y'all coming back and holler.